Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our Community Connections webinar series. My name is Kelly, and I'm one of I work in the sales department at Bywater, and I'm joined today with Jesse, who will be able to answer any questions that you have during the presentation. We're going to dive into an exploration into Koha. So for folks that have never seen Koha, the ILS, today is your lucky day because we're going to talk about it all. And please, again, feel free to ask questions. This will be recorded. So if you do want to share it with colleagues or friends or fellow librarians, it will be available and emailed to you. And of course, all our webinars that we provide, as well as all our educational resources, are on our YouTube channel for anyone to see. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and just start sharing a different screen, and so we can dive into the Koha experience. So today I'm going to start on the staff side, so we can really, look at all the things that staff have the capability of doing in the Koha ILS. This is a open source software, and if you are not familiar with open source software, wait for the last slide, and we're going to have a webinar about open source software in a few months, so we can dive into that later. This is a software that was created by librarians for librarians, so it is very user-friendly, great workflows that can come with this process. It is all web-based. So I am in Google Chrome, but Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari, they will all work. It's also mobile responsive. So if you are one of those libraries that have like a little outreach mobile van or a bike, or you go to local bakeries to sign patrons up, you can absolutely do this on your cell phone, your tablet, or a smaller device. I'm just on a standard computer screen today. But you do not lose any functionality at all when you do make your screen smaller. And I'm afraid what's on the background, there we go. Who knows what's going on back behind my desktop itself. I am also logged in as a super librarian. So we're going to be able to see all the things that Koha has. Koha is used by, really small libraries to really large libraries. And so the functionality of Koha is all inclusive. Every module comes with Koha. You absolutely don't need to use everything. I encourage you to use it all, but that would be really up to you and your staff. Your staff will have their own permissions to log in. And so they'll have buttons and options that may look a little different from their colleagues, whether they're circulation or they're cataloging. But no, today I'm going to show all the modules on my screen completely. The two top areas, that black bar and the green bar, are really handy because it gives you the ability to easily go to different areas within the system. So you can see I have all the modules here, but if I was within the cataloging module and I needed to go to reports, I can use that black static bar and I'm going to be able to pop right over there, which is really easy. Another thing I want to highlight over on the top right-hand corner is you can see that my username, where I'm logged in at, and I have an easy way to toggle to be able to go to my account or change my library if I have that correct permission, or log out. Right below, I have the ability to click the help button. The help button will bring you directly to the Koha manual in the module you're in. So I was in the reporting module. It's bringing me directly to the reporting module in the manual, and it will go through step-by-step screenshots and help me figure what I was trying to do if I just completely had a little momentary loss or I'd never used this module before. I'm going to pop back over. That opened another tab, something that some folks like and some folks do. Are you a tab hoarder, or do you like to have a nice clean tabless option at the top? I'm a tab hoarder, but Koha is going to allow you to do multiple things in different tabs if that's the person that you are. If not, you can easily go from from area to area and not lose your place. I'm going to go and use this little house on the top left-hand corner, or I could use the little Koha logo, which will bring me back to the home area. For library admin, this entire screen is customizable. So I'm able to add links at the top. I can add links to the left. I can add links to the bottom, which allows this staff interface to be completely customizable and catered to your staff to allow them to have those quick links or those resources that you want them to be able to find. So an easy one-stop shop here. We know that we're having patrons come up to us, whether that's a reference interview or they need some resources that the town website has. You can absolutely have all those within a click or two away. So that's really fantastic. The next thing that I want to talk about is this green bar. The green bar is going to allow me to do your basic circulation tasks as I'm in the home module. If I'm in the circulation module, I have those same green tasks as well. However, as we go through the day, you will see that that green bar is going to change depending on the module, such as acquisitions and serials. That will change a bit. I'm going to choose my search the catalog in the green bar, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in a search, something that could come up into the catalog, just so you can see the search itself. I have my facets on the left, and then I have my results in the center. I can absolutely use the facets to refine my search. If I was looking for something in a specific item type or a specific author, I can certainly do that here. I also have the ability to see a lot of the information about the titles that my catalog has with those two words somewhere in that marked record. And I'll be able to click into that record and get a full look at it. Now I'm going to get a little bit more information about this record itself. I'm going to see the author, the material type. I'm going to have clickable subject headings that are coming in from the MARC record itself. I have some options for opening in a new window, so I could look at what my patrons can see from the OPAC, right from the desktop. I'm going to click back over to the bibliographic record itself. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I can see the physical material that is connected to this bibliographic record. I can see it's an audio book and some other details that are specific to this. Barcode, when it was brought into the library, so that data session, checkouts and renewals, and when that was last seen, that last physical touch from the staff itself. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see I have cover images. These are getting pulled in from 3 different sites in Koha. Using the ISBN, Koha will look at Amazon, Google Books, and Open Library. If it can find a cover image, it is going to be able to display that for you. You, of course, can add your own cover image and add multiple cover images if you so desire, or if there's something that's not included there, you can add that. Now we did just a standard search. I'm going to go up here to this black bar and I'm going to use the advanced search. The advanced search is, something that librarians can use when they have a very curated reference interview. They're looking for something very specific. They're looking for maybe an audiobook or a museum pass. You can easily choose item type, shelving location, or collection. Can think of those patrons that say, well, it was in your display and it was a blue cover. So you can really start with the advanced search and get going there. Going, okay, my shelving location is display potentially, and it's probably in my fiction. So you have that ability to use a lot of the tools within the advanced search to make that search happen. You have one more search within the Koha Staff Interface, which I personally adore. This is going to build a report in the background. So I call it my project search, and I'm able to do a little bit more staff searching wise. I can, of course, search by my library, which I could in my advanced search, but I can narrow down things like status. If I was looking for something like that was in processing or withdrawn or damaged, or I have a new volunteer at the library and I want them to just go look for missing books, I can pull that report really easily here. I also, through the item search, I can search for specific fields that are built in, or a library can create custom search fields So you can see I have down here, maybe I want to do a little bit of cleanup and I want to see everything that's in my system that's been suppressed. So being hidden, because maybe there are things there I shouldn't have hidden. And then a little bit more of that's why I adore this search, because there's so many options. I can look for a call number range. I can look for things that have less than or more than checkouts. And then I can really dig into those details. If I hit that search, it looks a lot different from that basic search. I get a lot more information, and I have the ability to see a lot of information, such as if it's withdrawn or if it's lost. I can export this to a CSV or a barcode file, and I can also make edits within this area. So I have lots of clickable fields. One last option, let me just click a few so you can see those batch options. So you can see I can go right in here and make some batch item modifications and deletions. This is a tool built into the cataloging module, but within the searching, now we have that capability. Another thing I love about Koha's tables. So you will see a lot of tables in this webinar today, and a lot of these have these little carrots. I'm told they're called carrots. I don't think they look much like carrots. And I can reorganize the table depending on the data that I want to see. Now let's head over to the patron module, and let's go ahead and search for a patron name, or maybe their card number or their phone number. I have some options that I can search for specific fields. If I have very little information, I can certainly do that. But if I do know their name, I can start typing. And for multi-branch systems, I'll be able to see the branch that the patron is associated with. Up in my right-hand corner, I'm logged in at the East Branch, so those names will be highlighted. You can see there's another one, Kelly McGelly, who's located at the Bookmobile. So let's pop into one of these and find that patron account. This patron account is going to give us a lot of information. This is what's called the library detail page. This is going to have a lot of library information. If I head over to the checkout page, you can see I'm ready to start checking out. Scan those barcodes. I also have some information here over on the right-hand side, tells me about things for the patron. There's holds. It looks like they're part of our friends group. They've got some messages. This message was sent to the patron on the OPAC. So a staff member typed in, hey, thanks for the yummy treats. Please come pick up your glass dish at the library. And I can see that that patron read it in the OPAC. So I can send messages to them, and I can also use these messages internally, like they left their pink umbrella at the desk. Koha will show the current checkouts, due dates, if you can renew them, if there are holds placed on those. So as I scroll down, you can see those options over here on the right. The patron itself's category, such as resident or youth or community member or student, with the item type will determine the circulation rule. So depending on what this patron checks out, they will have a specific due date assigned to them, as well as the number of renewals and auto renewals if your library wants to do that as well. Any holds that this patron has, I can see right from here. I can delete them, suspend them, and see what is ready for them. I can also change their pickup location, as well as cancel those holds. If for some reason I can't find it on the shelf, I can certainly cancel that. A couple of other things Koha has a claims return module. You can manually restrict patrons. We do have a patron club module that would allow your patrons to register for clubs within the system. And you can attach patrons to lists. And I can see if any of those patrons are attached to lists right from this tab. Over on the left-hand side, I'm able to see any transactions, payments, fines in my patrons accounting module. I can see and charge patrons using this create manual invoice or take payments right from the desk. Something that I love, love, love is I have the ability to see notices that are sent to the patron. So I can see all the notices, in what way they were sent to the patron, when they were sent itself. And if I click any of those, I can actually see the text of the notice itself that was sent to the patron. All notices and slips are customizable by the library. So if you want to alter text or add a logo, you can absolutely do that. One last thing that I love to show, because it's one of those things that you don't think about too often, but if you wanted to attach registrations or applications or some sort of certificate to this patron's account, you can absolutely upload files to your patron's record itself. As I said, I'm logged in as a super librarian. Staff will also have an account such as this, and from their staff account is where the permissions live within Koha. So you can see I'm that super librarian, but we get pretty granular in how you can assign permissions to your staff members. So we can make sure that your staff members have the correct permissions and have access to everything they need right from here. A lot of this process, may seem a little complex as we're kind of going through demos in Bywater as well, looking at software, and it's really fascinating to see everything that's new in software, but understand that Bywater is the support company, and during your migration and implementation, we walk you through all these. We help you through your patron permissions. We help you through your circulation and fine rules. We migrate your data. So we definitely will work with you in this setup itself. If I go ahead and just edit this patron, you can see the patron form that's filled out. If there are required fields, if there are fields that are not required but can be filled out, if there are collapse fields, we can absolutely save additional information. As I scroll down a little bit, you can save information about the patron outside of the patron form. We have here, they have a 3D printing course completed, something about the census, as well as, and these are drop downs. You can see those drop downs. And then also a free text option. Koha does send out courtesy messages to the patron, and they can opt in or opt out if your library wants them to, and they can opt in to get SMS, which Koha will send, as well as phone. Koha will also integrate with phone providers such as Itiva or Shoutbomb, and that will do those messages for you. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that cancel. We'll pop back out of there. Really fantastic. Now we're going to head over to the cataloging module. Now, it's always really fascinating to see this new module because it has a lot of options and there's a lot going on as those tech services librarians in the room. There is, of course, creating records within the system. If you're creating records from a Z39.50 target, you're able to search that, choose your targets, and bring those records right into the system. Of course, you can edit them once you bring them in, and you can edit the targets that you have, add or remove targets. You can absolutely do a blank cataloging. I'm blanking on the word, but like a free form. So original, there it is, original cataloging, and you can see how that cataloging module works. There are two ways to catalog in Koha. This is the basic editor. It's very mouse driven, showing those 10 tabs at the top. It has all the mark fields driven by your frameworks. There is also the ability to use the advanced editor in Koha. And the advanced editor is mocking the OCLC connection, where you're only going to see the fields that are filled out, and you can absolutely add more fields as you go. You can use the Z39 through this advanced option right into the advanced editor. You can also customize your advanced editor, choosing the size of the text or the type of the text. And one last thing that the advanced editor has is you have the ability to apply and run macros. So, bulk jobs to do, as I did, I just added a field really quickly to the record that has that capability to be able to do that. Really fantastic. The other thing, and I'm going to pop into the other thing that the Koha cataloging module has is the ability to import records. So, you can original catalog, you can Z39.50, you can use OCLC connection directly into that connection, or you can import a file of records right into the system itself. So really a lot of ways to get those records directly into Koha. Other things that the cataloging module has are batch tools. Now, I showed you those batch choices in the item search, but there's a few more that we didn't see in the item search, and that's batch record modification and batch record deletion. If anyone's familiar with Mark Edit, a lot of that functionality is built right into Koha, so you can do actions such as copy fields from one to the other, or add those item fields directly into your records, or delete a lot of records. So you have a lot of functionality there. There's a few other tools within the cataloging module. You can run inventory reports. You can directly export catalog data. So if you need to send out catalog data out to a vendor, you can absolutely do that, and it will drop right a CSV, right, or a MARC file right to your desktop, and you'll be able to send that out if you so want. Koha also has label creators, so you can go ahead and create a label, run some batches, print those spine labels, those barcodes, whatever you want to do. We will work with you in setting up those specific spine labels or Avery labeled sizes, so you're easily able to print out the labels that you need for your material. The last few that we want to just talk about slightly is we have some tools to be able to manage your collection. So whether we're going to make modifications to items by age, so thinking about those new materials, they start off as a new book and they only circulate for 14 days, but then after they've been around for 90 days, maybe we want them to just be a book and they can be available for 45 days. So we have that functionality. I think that the best part about Koha is that automatic process. A lot of those are built in for the user. So kind of like set it and forget it is what I love to see. I'm going to head over to just the tools for a quick second, just to talk a little bit about the tools that are built into Koha. There are a lot. There are a lot of things in cataloging, but I'm just going to touch on a few. As I said, we do have the ability to modify and customize notices and slips, something that we talk about during your migration and implementation. But of course, at any time that you want, you can come in here and make edits to your notices. So if you decide that you need to change the signature of your library, or if your hours are in your notice and you need to change those, you can absolutely do that right from your notices and slips. The power of the settings and the curation of Koha all live right here. So you have the tools to be able to do that right from here. If you had the, if you needed to import patrons into the system, so if we have any academics in the room, you can absolutely either drop a CSV into Koha and import those, or we can set it up to be an automatic thing if you're using Banner or another colleague, another system, that we can set up automatic import of your patrons directly there. I might be blowing somebody's mind. I might make somebody really happy to know that that is something they don't have to manually do anymore, potentially. Okay, I'm headed back to the home just so you don't get lost in the way. I'm going to pop over to the serials module. Now, as I said, the green bar is slightly changed. So now I have search subscriptions. I can go ahead and search an ISSN or a title. I can certainly search for other features of my subscription if I wanted to. I'm just going to do a nice blanket search so we can go ahead and see the subscriptions in here. The real beauty of the Koha serial module, every subscription is attached to a bibliographic record. Those bibliographic records have subscriptions attached. You are able to plan accordingly your subscriptions, such as monthly, weekly, daily, and Koha is then going to predict when that material is going to come in. So then really all you have to do is say, yeah, bon appetit, it's here. And Koha is going to say, okay, well, we expected 496 number 5, and it's coming on May 10th. Has it arrived? And we can easily say it's arrived. Or like the previous two, we may have to say it's late or claimed. Who knows? Not available. Maybe it got so wet in the mail. Who knows? But once you have that set up, now, if you have new subscriptions, there is what we have within the serials module is you have a option to search the Mana knowledge base. Now, let's just pause there. You have a community of users that allow you to borrow their subscription patterns. Think about that. Hey, I don't need to create The Economist. Somebody else has done it. Let's go ahead and search that up and directly import it. Think of a Z39.50 for your serial subscriptions. You know, as you start to kind of curate your serials collection and you're like, or there's new serials, things are expiring and there's new things you want to create. Think how easy that is. Koha gives you those tools that allow you to adjust those frequencies and numbering patterns. It will also allow you to send claim notices directly to your vendor through an email, or if you wanted to download a CSV, you can certainly do that. Again, this is a notice that serial claims will send directly to that vendor's email if you want to, as well as create that CSV and have that for your file. The other module in Koha that I wanted to make sure we had time to talk about because it's so fantastic and so exciting is the acquisition module. Now, the acquisition module is going to be a real opportunity for libraries to manage their budgets within the library, whether that's one budget or multiple budgets. And with those budgets, funds, and possible subfunds, and possible subfunds, and possible subfunds. So you have the ability to really dig into how you're spending your money at the library, tracking that. It's good to note before we head over to the reports, everything that's in Koha is reportable. So down the road, if that information is in Koha, you're going to be able to report, hey, what did I do in 2024 in my juvenile books versus 2023? I mean, we're going to see great things. Books are fantastic and they're just going to continue to go up. We're just going to continue to buy them. So you can see here on this page, I have my funds. I have a nice look at each fund, what I've ordered and what I've spent. So my encumbered funds and what I've spent, and then direct links to what I have spent. So if I click that, I can see I ordered that Magic Treehouse. Not only do I have it in this view, but I also can go directly to the bibliographic record, and I have this acquisition detail tab, which will tell me I ordered it through Ingram. It was part of the replacement basket and it's arrived. That status is complete. And I have that information. This is great for past information, but thinking about those James Patterson books and those David Silva books, Daniel Silva books, where they're not quite here, we have the real information right at our fingertips that allow us to see that status. Hey, we've ordered it. It's not quite here yet, but it's on its way. I'm going to hit that back button, which is pretty much a cool thing about having a web-based browser is you have that ability to just go right directly back. Koha has vendor creation. So you can create vendors within the system. In the last 18 months, the vendor profile has gotten crazy. It is allowing you to not only add name and address and account numbers and fax numbers and contact details, lots of contact details. You can identify who your acquisition contact is, who your serials contact is. You also can identify and define interfaces, so websites associated with this vendor. You can add passwords and accounts and emails and any notes about that. If you add an interface, a URL, that's going to be clickable, that will bring you right to that vendor page. You also can add some ordering information about tax or discounts or delivery time. The other thing that you have the ability to do is create issues within your vendors. So if you had some downtime with a electronic resource vendor, you can add that information. Or if their website wasn't available, you will be able to add that data to the vendor. So when you're down the road to negotiating, you have that information. Or like, hey, I always order on the 30th. Why? Oh, it looks like they were down on the 30th and I never placed the order. So you can certainly track those issues right from the vendor account, which is fantastic. The other thing that Koha has is the ability to, do those orders within the system. If you are not using Edifact ordering, you can absolutely still do ordering through Koha, whether that's adding information or adding items to a basket. I'm going to pull up a basket that's already created. You can add material to the basket, whether that's a second copy of something, from a purchase suggestion, from a Z39.50 search, or from a file of records that you got from maybe your large print vendor. You get those files and you can attach them right to the basket, assigning those prices, what fund it's associated with. If I scroll down here, I can add item information, and then I'm going to be able to assign the price, if there is a discount, what the replacement price is, if there's any notes associated with this material. As soon as I start to add things to the basket, they're going to live here until I receive that information. And then I'm able to go through that last look of information coming in. Yes, it's in the right fund. Yes, it's here. Yes, I can slap a barcode on it. And now that order is complete. We also do work with multiple vendors. I couldn't even list them all out, the number of vendors that we work with EDI ordering. So Baker and Taylor, Brodart, Ingram, Midwest, Playaway. I could go on and on. We have a great link on our website for integrations that we work with. And during your migration, we will work with you and the vendor to make sure that seamless ordering between that vendor and Koha interacts, and it's super amazing. So know that's always there for you. The other area that I love to talk about on the Koha side is the reporting module. Koha does have some nice built-in reports that are available on the left, as well as in a lot of modules, they have some built-in reports. Didn't even show those. You have some statistic wizards that you can run, super easy. You also have the ability to create reports. Now, reports in Koha are built on SQL, but don't stop listening now. I'm going to tell you there are many resources to get those SQL reports into your system. Once a report has been created, they're going to live in your system. And if I scroll way to the right, run instantly, run. You'll get that details. Now, just like in the serials module, we have a Mana knowledge base for reports. So I can easily go ahead and type in a keyword or a couple of words to find reports that are associated with that word and see the SQL. And look at this button right here, import. Bring that directly into my system, and then it's mine. I recommend for every report you import, maybe share one of yours so then it's available for all the others to use. But this is just a great way of our community support with each other. Again, Koha was created by librarians for librarians, and as librarians use it, they're supporting one another. Koha's database schema has its own website. So for those that are like, I love SQL, show me all the details. The schema is linkable over here on the right-hand side. So you're able to see all those tables. But the best part is, if you did want to start to utilize a report or play around with a report, I'm going to type in one really quick. I just found this one and it says that I created it, but I didn't even know I did. This says seasonal book list. I'm going to enter a subject. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that run button. I'm going to do Christmas. It's snowy outside still. So I'm going to say, are we still doing Christmas? This report is pulling everything from my database that has the subject of Christmas. So look at that. I can create a display pretty easily. The other thing that I have in my reporting, if I did need to edit the report, I'm just going to go up here and edit it. As I start to type, Koha is going to give me options that are going to fill out that information. So if I said, hey, I really kind of want to know what the home branch is for this material, I can certainly do that and say, okay, I've updated it. So it's leading me to the correct answer I'm looking for without me having to remember how that structure is. I'm going to run that report again as I've edited it, but there's a few things else that I want to show. Directly from the report itself, I can absolutely download that to a CSV. As you saw, I could make any edits. The other thing I have is I have the ability to create batch operations to material within my report. So thinking that I'm going to make these shelving locations on display, or I'm going to modify these, I can absolutely do that. I also have a direct link right to that bibliographic record. So you can see here, I can click and it's going to bring me either to view or to edit. If I click view, I'm going to that record directly if I need to make any changes. I can absolutely do a schedule of this report. So if I want to schedule it for tomorrow afternoon when I'm going to do my display, I can do that, as well as Bywater will do frequency scheduled cron. So if you wanted this report run on the 1st of every month, we can certainly do that and email that to your email address. For reports such as circulation by month or by hour or by branch, you have the ability to create charts. So that's pie charts, bar charts, line charts, and make those really pretty for your director reports or for your newsletter. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed by the SQL itself, know that part of Bywater support is going to create any reports that you want within the system. So do not feel as though you're not going to be able to run those reports. That's a big part of our implementation process. We talk about the reporting module and what reports you're running in your current system. Okay, I have a few minutes left and I didn't want to leave out the OPAC. So we're headed over to the staff, to the patron side. Look at me, I'm already like staff side. The Koha OPAC, wow, it has completely been redesigned with every release. This is just one example of a Koha OPAC. On our website, we have a list of our partners broken out by types of libraries. So you can see what other libraries are highlighting. You know, we also work with Aspen Discovery as a discovery layer. And a lot of what we both are trying to do with our OPAC is to get the most information to the patron. So you can see at my top bar here, I have other things other than just searching my catalog. I have a link for my friends at the library. I can add more information. So my patron's going to get all the information they would get from the library going inside the doors. Not only am I a database of books, but I also want to highlight collections and talk about things. So you can see here over on the right-hand side, I have lots of links. I've saved searches. I have links out to the community. So I'm helping my users find their path within the OPAC. I can certainly go ahead and, of course, we can't forget the books. I can go ahead and make that search and search within the collection and see what we have within there. Koha does connect with e-content resources. So if you had your Overdrive or Hoopla or Cloud Library, you're able to integrate that directly here and not have your user go out to another site. I can easily, again, see those facets, see a full look at the record within the system. Your users can see the holdings, if it's available, and where it lives in the library. I'm going to go ahead and just log into my account. I can go ahead and see my checkouts, place any holds, renew any material that is renewable, cancel or suspend any of my current holds, check my Overdrive account if I have any material checked out of my Overdrive, if I'm like, oh, I only have a few more days. Yes, absolutely. OPAC is user-friendly, mobile-friendly. Yep, absolutely. I can see any notes. I also, look at this. Look how fantastic it is. It says I've saved $672. Does that mean I have $672 to spend on something else? Because I might buy more books. Over here on the left-hand side, I can absolutely change my password, look at my checkout history if that is turned on, look at my holds history, opt in or opt out of my history itself. If my library allows me, I can make purchase suggestions. Those purchase suggestions made at the OPAC will directly feed into the Koha Staff Interface and can be moderated and approved and rejected through the staff interface, which also links to the acquisition module and notices. So those patrons are going to get those notices to say, hey, thanks for your order. It is coming down the pike. Koha can also send those notices like we looked at on the staff side, and your patrons can opt in or opt out directly from the OPAC on what messages they want to receive. The other thing I really like is I love lists. Your users can create lists of things they want to read, things they've heard about, books that they've been recommended, and start curating those lists that they can say, what do I have to read? What can I go to my lists? The library can create lists as well for the users. So I do have the ability to see public lists that my staff have created. Look, I have some tools that the library has. This is a great way to advertise that you even have tools at your libraries. You've created a list, or you could have a nice banner on the top of your OPAC that says we have tools. Again, that's customizable, as well as allowing your patrons to find material through different ways, whether I typed in tools or a spading fork, or I saw that there was a list within there. Another thing that you can do with your list, you can email those or download those or add them to your own lists. So you have lots of functionality right there. We didn't leave out the advanced search, which I have the advanced search for my power users. And then once I'm logged in, one thing I really like is I have this little user summary over here. So once I log in, I can see, oh my gosh, I have 2 holds waiting. Super easy. I'm running to the library right now. I also have a message, and I can again see my $672 savings. Oh, that's a mouthful, just a little mouthful, but you know, the Koha is very, very large and very deep hole. We could spend a lot more time. I encourage anyone, if you are interested in looking at Koha further, please go ahead and give us a call. I'm going to just do another switcheroo. Sorry. Because then you can get all our contact information. I'm going to hit share again. I'm going to hit present again. Before I give you our contact information, you have to hold on 1 more minute. The next 2 upcoming webinars is next month, April 30th, open source for everybody, just like I mentioned in the beginning. And then in May, hopefully the sun will be out and we'll be talking about third-party products with Koha. So that's going to include all those EDI accounts that we're integrating with, all those e-content resources, OCLC, Sky River, the list, ITIVA, Shoutbomb, the list can go on and on. So we're going to talk about those third-party products. And then finally, if you did want to get a more personalized demo and talk to us, please don't hesitate to call us or email us. I just put an email, but there we are. We have Adam here in the room. There's a nice picture of our sales team. Any one of us will be happy to talk with you. And if you are at PLA next week, you may see a few of us. So please stop by our booth and say hello. We've got some great events and a party, so you're more than welcome.